So again, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. This is the second of the town halls or stakeholder meetings that we have actually held for the Fairfax County 250. This meeting is open to the public. It is being recorded for the purposes of FOIA, and transparency and all of that. Going to go over just kind of briefly our agenda, but once again, my name is Elliot Bell Krasner. I am the vice chair of the Fairfax County Semi-Quincentennial Commission, otherwise known as Fairfax 250. I represent the Human Rights Commission on the commission, and today I am here in that capacity. So, our agenda for tonight, we're going to sort of briefly discuss the Nation at 250, anniversary scope, America 250, Virginia 250, the county efforts, the Fairfax 250's commission, our goals, and how we're planning on engaging community members in, the community within the county, as all of you are here. So, as you can see, kind of, there's really a few tiers, to this. So there's the Nation at 250, which was responsible for commemorating the 250th anniversary with inclusive programs that inspire Americans to renew and strengthen our daring experiment in democracy, American democracy. There is the Virginia effort, which is to form a more perfect union by educating Virginians about their history and civic duty and sharing a diverse narrative that captures Virginia's complete story and the role that it played in shaping the nation. And then within our county, we have the Fairfax 250, which is responsible for organizing and leading county-wide efforts for an inclusive observance of our semi-quincentennial anniversary of American independence. So a few websites to share with you, and just kind of going to share screenshots with them. So America 250 is essentially the parent, as it were. And that is, the overarching national commission. Then you have Virginia 250, and then you have Fairfax County 250. I think somebody may have accidentally drawn on the screen. We'll just continue that. I'm not entirely sure how to get rid of that. So essentially, America 250, this is essentially their, the website. It is the National Commission. It has its mission statement there to commemorate the 250th anniversary with inclusive programs that inspire Americans to renew and strengthen our daring experiment in democracy. I said that. And this includes, representatives of, various historical organizations, elected officials and, various other folks like that. It was established in 2016. The nonpartisan commission is chaired by the Treasurer of the United States, former Treasurer of the United States, rather, Rosie Rios, and is working with the America 250 Foundation to engage Americans in designing what we consider to be the largest and most inclusive anniversary observance in the nation's history. This is the first time that we've had a real opportunity to do this since the bicentennial in 1976. So, the American Association for State and Local History has taken the leading role in preparing a whole bunch of educational resources for the 250th anniversary. The organization, otherwise known as the AASLH, encourages groups and organizations to focus on the principles of the revolution rather than just specific events, because we want to remember that the 250th is not just about the events of the American Revolution, the Declaration of Independence, the Revolutionary War, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, but also America's story since and what America's story is today at the 250 mark. And this lends itself to a more inclusive history while also keeping the focus local. They're helping to produce, sort of materials that can help different localities. So, what about Virginia 250? So the Commonwealth Commission was established by the General Assembly in 2020. And the Commonwealth's Commission is working to establish local commissions throughout Virginia. The Fairfax 250 is an outcome of the effort. The website that I shared at the beginning, which once again is va250.org, does a really fantastic job of, explaining the Commonwealth's efforts and approach. In fact, the latest meeting of Virginia 250 has been held over the last few days in Richmond. It's one of the reasons why a few members of the commission are not able to make it tonight. They're down in Richmond right now, because Gretchen Bulova, who is the chair of our finance committee and the leader of the Office of Historic Alexandria, is a member of that commission. We have other members of our commission who have ties to Virginia 250 as well. This is just kind of an example of some of the statewide events that are on their website right now, and these are going to be, of course, added to. There's an opportunity to be able to submit an event, that is really supposed to be for the entire Commonwealth. It's a terrific, resource, and definitely encourage you guys to, sort of take a look at it. The organizations have already been submitting events. We're already experiencing milestones in the lead up to the date of the American Revolution and their key dates for Virginia and Fairfax County history, because of course, 1774, we'd already, experienced several years of the events that would lead up to the American Revolution and of course, eventually the Declaration of Independence. One of the most significant here in Fairfax County are the Fairfax Resolve, which were issued 250 years ago on July 17th of this year. They were written by George Washington and George Mason at Mount Vernon, and they were considered to be at the time a very bold statement of a fundamental constitutional rights and a revolutionary call for an association of colonies to protest British anti-American actions. They were adopted on July 18th by the Fairfax County Convention, which was chaired by Washington himself. The citizens' protest meeting that took place was one of many that were taking place throughout the colonies to challenge Britain's harsh retaliatory measures against Massachusetts. That's my home area, where I'm from originally, after the Boston Tea Party, that were known as the intolerable acts colloquially by the locals. There will be a public reading of the Fairfax Resolved in the city of Alexandria in July of this year. So it's one of many, many events that's going to be taking place. So what about us? So the Fairfax County Semi-Quincentennial Commission was established through the County Board of Supervisors on July 2021, after the work group formally then transitioned to the 250 Commission, which is going to be remaining in existence through June 30th of 2027. The working group issued several different recommendations, which have been adopted by the Commission, which form the pillars of our basis of what we're trying to do. And again, the purpose of the 250 Commission is to implement the preferred approach for organizing and leading the county-wide efforts for an inclusive observance, celebration, and commemoration of the semi-quincentennial anniversary of the American Revolution, the Revolutionary War, and the independence of the United States of America, along with, of course, what our story is today at 250 for Fairfax residents. So, as we don't necessarily need to be told about this, but Virginia's history is America's story. Virginia is focusing heavily on revolutionary events from 1775 and 1776, and the goal is to embrace the inclusive history and narrative of the breadth of the era and mark the origins of a revolutionary new nation. You can read the Quincentennial Work Group report and recommendations that were published in July of 2021. If you Google the Fairfax County 250, specifically the work group report and recommendations, it should be the first thing that comes up, and you can read through to be able to see the fact that, The belief is that the revolutionary challenge continues, and we want to ensure that we tell our history to reflect the full American story and representation from as many different groups as possible. We have great diversity here in Fairfax County, and we want to make sure that the 250 Commission is representative of that. To that end, we have lots of different committees that are working to various purposes in order to help implement. I'm going to briefly go through each of them. Our Finance Committee, which is chaired, as I said, by Gretchen Volova, which is responsible for the oversight, the management, the accountability for all appropriated and raised financial resources, responsible for preparing the budgets as needed in support of the effort. Obviously, a lot of the events that we're planning and some of the activities that we're planning and some of what we have planned for the signature experience are going to require county resources, private resources. So she's responsible, or the Finance Committee is responsible for that. And Gretchen's a great person to have involved in that and chairing the Finance Committee. Marketing and Communications, which is chaired by Patrick Lennon, who is also the CEO of Visit Fairfax. They are charged with for developing and implementing ideas and initiatives that promote the effort that we're doing all together and the activities. Also responsible for identifying and supporting partnerships and collaborations that advance the public's awareness and support of the effort, and eventually coming up with different sort of palm cards, flyers, things to hand out at different festivals, swag, if you will, and, responsible for that. Inclusion Committee. This is the one that I have the privilege of chairing. We are responsible for ensuring a diversity of perspectives, voices, and ideas and insights are invited to participate and inform the 250 effort. We want to make sure that our wonderfully diverse community is represented as well as it can be, and we're coordinating our efforts with and adherence to the One Fairfax policy. We're trying to contact various different groups through the county, the different communities that are represented heavily in the county, and we want to make sure that all voices are heard for this. The Youth and Family Engagement, which is led by Elizabeth Maurer, who's our representative for the National Museum of the U.S. Army. Through organizations and institutions, it's designed to act as a conduit to the youth and families of Fairfax County to engage them in the commemoration, provide support and resources, and foster collaboration among groups. So if you think about it, Fairfax County Public Schools, the Scouts, various other youth organizations to try to get the young people involved, because unless you are over the age of just about 50, people have not lived through something like this before. And especially the young people who were born in, say, the last 10 or 15 years, this is going to be a huge milestone for them to be able to experience. And we want to be able to have their voices and have, sort of their perspective as well. The Activity Committee, which is chaired by Suzanne Moffett, which is responsible for identifying, planning, and implementing different civic, cultural, historical, and educational activities, developing partnerships in support of the activity implementation and the success, working with our various, sort of other committees on marketing and fundraising and communication of those activities, but also ensuring that the activities have an opportunity for people to be able to participate in them, as fully as they can. They've come up with some great ideas already, and you're going to start to see those populated on our website. And then finally, the Signature Experience Committee, which is chaired by Ashley Morris, who is the CEO of Celebrate Fairfax. The committee is responsible for planning and implementing the major signature experience that is going to showcase the past, the present, and the future of Alexandria by visiting sites, community events, and venues across the county, We already have some really terrific plans underway. I'm not going to get into too many details tonight. There are going to be plenty of opportunities to hear about it, to engage with it. And we're coming up with what we believe to be a signature experience that can encompass as much of the county as possible, allow the maximum number of county residents to participate. And it's going to be really exciting. And we're lucky to have Ashley on board, with her wealth of experience and connections. And then finally, the Outreach Committee, which is responsible for communicating and coordinating with appropriate organizations and entities in support of the 250 effort. Eventually, the Outreach Committee is going to be responsible for a lot of the primary communications that the commission is going to be up to, newsletters, things of that sort, working very closely with the marketing committee on that, working with the Signature Experience Committee and the Activities Committee to be able to promote what we're already doing. Nancy Simmons chairs that committee. So, how can you, all of you, and again, really appreciate you all being here tonight, get involved? There are lots of ways, even at this stage, even though we're still, kind of 2 years out from, more than 2 years out from July of 2026, there are lots of different ways that you can get involved. First and foremost, you can tell your friends and colleagues about the 250th, about America 250, about Virginia 250, about Fairfax 250, and what we are about and what we're planning. Encourage them to visit the websites. Tell them that they might be interested in, getting involved. If you represent a community group, please leave us your contact information so we can add you to an outreach list that we're putting together in order to be able to build a broader network for everything that we're planning. Another way that you can help is by attending an event. You're going to start to see under Fairfax 250 a lot of different events that are going to be populated, and many of these are going to have a direct correlation to the overarching signature experience. We'll have the schedule of what that looks like, because again, it's not just one event, it is going to be an overarching experience. And we are, in the process of populating that with events that have already been planned. And, you'll be able to attend the event, and we're planning them for all over the county. And then finally, you can submit an event. If you represent an organization or your organization is planning some sort of a 250 commemoration of some type, either one aspect or broadly, and you want us to be able to promote the event and encourage people to go, you can fill out a form, and I'm going to, at the end of this, when I stop sharing my screen, I'm going to put the link in the chat, but it's fxva.com/Fairfax 250/events/submit-your-event. And you can leave your contact information. If you have any questions, you can email our activity committee at fc250activity@gmail.com. Again, fc250activity@gmail.com. And you can be able to, submit your event. So once again, brief recap of the websites that you want to be familiar with, to learn more, to keep an eye on: America 250, Virginia 250, Fairfax County 250. So that is the end of the presentation. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And I am going to allow everybody to get off of mute. Okay. So, I noticed that JB had a few comments here. A link on the presentation is not usable by attendees. That is one of the reasons why I'm absolutely going to be putting a few things in the chat for you. And once again, these are accessible on the web. So let me go ahead and take a second to be able to do that. So here is America 250. Here is Virginia 250. Here is Fairfax 250. That's us. And I know that, so the American Association for State and Local History that I referenced earlier. And then finally, the form that I referenced to submit your event, if you would like. So will there be a public 250 projects status work site? JB, can you clarify your question, what you mean by that? You should be able to unmute if you're comfortable doing so, or you can put it in the chat.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. No, just a place where people can, like probably not Facebook, but a place where people can work on projects that are started with respect to the 250 program.
No, that's an excellent question. So we have the members of our commission, which we're all appointed by the Board of Supervisors, and our meetings are open to the public, just as this meeting is. If you're interested in helping out with one of the committees or, on one of the projects, you can feel free to attend a commission meeting or feel free to attend one of the committee meetings. Again, the committee meetings are also open to the public, but the actual work and implementation is going to be done by the members of the commission in collaboration with different organizations and, individuals. At this stage, we're kind of working through exactly what that looks like in terms of the collaboration. Some of it will go deeper than others, but in terms of individuals who are interested in participating, again, I've given you some basics right now, but there's going to be more to come as other, sort of things come to play, including but not limited to the signature experience. Does that answer your question?
I think so. I guess I was thinking more along the lines of through Volunteer Fairfax, people can look up projects that they want to work on, for example, things like
Right.
that.
And if there are, if we may very well put out a call for volunteers for various activities or for the signature experience. And if and when that happens, it'll be publicized on the website.
For the time being, anyway. Thank you.
Right.
It looks like they've changed Zoom a little bit. It used to be that you could save the chat to your computer, but that seems to be dimmed unless it's a setting that you chose.
I don't actually know.
Like...
Yeah, they make changes to Zoom all the time. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Are you able to kind of copy and paste from the?
I haven't tried that yet, but that's certainly a possibility. Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
Good, thank you.
Excellent. Very good. Okay. So just wanted to point out another couple of my colleagues who have joined us. Brent and Joyce are also two members of the commission. You want to say hello?
Yes, good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I'm Joyce Bellamy. Representing the Providence District on the Fairfax 250 Commission. And sorry, I was a little late. I've been to many different places today. So welcome all. And we look forward to working with you and moving forward with this, I call it an adventure. All right.
Brent?
Hi guys, I'm Brent Fato. I'm with the Army Historical Foundation, and I serve on the Activities Committee as well as the Signature Experience Committee.
Well, thank you both for joining us tonight. All right.
Sorry, it doesn't look like you can copy from that from the chat window directly.
That's very strange. Let me play with that a little bit while, we're chatting and see if there's,
It's a feature that a lot of security software seems to like to use. I don't see that it makes anything more secure. You can always do a photo, a screenshot of anything, but then it's like trying to get text out of an image. It requires a lot of complex processing.
Yeah.
It's not practical.
No, it's again,
Okay, well, maybe it's not possible anymore.
Zoom does weird things to us.
Oh, by the way, I apologize for scratching on your screen.
Oh, no worries.
Some kind of control panel came up, and I was experimenting to see what it was. I didn't imagine that it was writing directly on the public screen. Assumed it was for my own benefit only.
It's funny. I teach Sunday school. When I'm not doing this, I teach, one of the hats I wear is I teach Sunday school at my synagogue and Falls Church. My wife and I live here in Fairfax, specifically in Merrifield, when I teach across the way in Falls Church. And during the pandemic, we had Zoom classrooms, and my students quickly discovered the drawing feature and were quick to take advantage of that.
I'd never noticed it before. How long has it been around?
The drawing feature, at least we were doing it 3 years ago, so at least 3 years.
News to me.
That's
Even though I have several organizations that use Zoom, and I've never seen anybody use it before. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Are there other questions that folks have?
Are there really only 3 of us here?
1, 2, 3. Yeah, right now.
Oh, I presumed you just sectioned us out or something, but
no,
doesn't sound like a very profitable use of your time. I apologize.
It's all right
for those of us that aren't here.
No, and we appreciate those of you who are here, and we are going to be having we had an in-person session on April 12th at the Government Center. We're going to have another one on April 29th that's going to be at the Government Center.
Yeah, those are both in person.
Right. We've tried our best, to be, again, as understanding and inclusive as possible of schedules and timing and everything. But I think that right now, there are folks out there who are just starting to, again, the purpose of these is for folks to learn about us. We've been advertising, we've been, promoting, obviously, but.
Yeah, I don't know what it's worth, but it seemed that the material that I saw, I think I saw it on Nextdoor, didn't seem to be very enlightening about what the scope of the project was, or what kind, not even anecdotal, we're going to have a celebration over at the park or something like that.
Right.
It just gave, I didn't get the feeling that I had any sense of depth or scope in what we were going to talk about today. So
no, and we appreciate the feedback. And again, as we do these sessions and we try to engage with folks out there, with members of the community, with other stakeholders, and you all county residents, whether or not you're part of an organization professionally or personally, are all stakeholders. You're all, engaging, in this with us together. And the hope is that, so this is just really just kind of was designed to really be a basic overview of who we are, why we're here, why the county's even spending resources on, something like this at a time when, obviously things like that are being scrutinized, and we're, after this, these sessions are done, we're going to continue our engagement. We're going to continue to do what we've been doing in terms of planning for activities for our signature experience. And the hope is that over the next 6 months, this becomes even more robust. What I will say is that we have made tremendous progress even in the last 6 months. Our first year was really just kind of getting a feel for everything. My colleagues who have both been on the commission since the start can attest to this, and we had our first meeting, and I think it was March or April of 2022. And we really, spent a good portion of time trying to figure out exactly not just, how to interpret the work group's instructions and the mandate from the county and how to form this together. Because, as I said, this is a commission that's appointed members by the Board of Supervisors with some instructions, but we've also been given a lot of, I suppose, leeway per se, in order to try to do with this as we have seen fit. And we're very lucky to have many different organizations represented on the commission and many different people who have been involved in planning commemorations and celebrations like this before, and many different people who are passionate about history and civics and government and education and various other themes that come in handy. And we've grown by leaps and bounds in terms of that. When we started, we didn't have Ashley. We didn't have a few other members that have been really essential to where we've gone in the last 6 months and where we're going in the next year. But the hope is that, as we continue on our efforts, the scope is going to be fleshed out a little bit even further. And beyond this, it's going to be very public and people will know about it, as much as possible. But we can only do so much. I appreciate it again and appreciate your being here. I see Charlene, and I feel like I'm in teacher mode right now since we have only a handful of folks. Charlene and Dee, would you like to introduce yourselves?
This is Charlene. I'm actually on because I'm a member of the Burke, Virginia Historical Society.
Oh, wonderful.
I went back looking through my very old minutes since I'm the secretary, and something clicks that I was involved in an online meeting 2022. Does that ring a bell with anyone?
Was on a meeting in 2022.
Yeah, I for this very topic, but I couldn't find anything. So I thought everybody's been at this for quite some time.
Oh, for the 250? Yeah.
Yes.
No, this a couple of weeks ago was the first time I heard about the quarter millennial
Okay,
meeting,
well,
project.
for some reason, I thought in 2022 I attended something to do with this. But anyway, the Burke Historical Society is very interested in the project, and we're very small, so I'm not sure we'll be submitting anything, but we certainly are interested. And thank you for all your efforts.
Of course, and thank you very much for being here tonight. And I know that we do occasionally will hold virtual meetings. We're allowed to hold a few per year. This doesn't actually count towards it because it's not actually a commission meeting. It is a public town hall. It falls into a different category. But it could very well. I honestly can't remember if we had any meetings in 2022 that were held virtually. But we were allowed to hold a few a year. But it could very well have been a virtual meeting related to Virginia 250 as well, because they've been holding meetings as well. And they've been holding some online sessions too, because it's not always easy for folks to get to Richmond, and be able to do that. So again, thank you very much for being here, Charlene. Oh, and we have somebody on video, Dee Dee Carter.
Hi, I'm Dee Dee Carter. I live in Vienna. I'm a member of HVI, also a member of the Northern Virginia Cemetery Consortium, and also a member of the Fairfax County Cemetery Preservation Association, and a member of HVI in Vienna. And just come to see what this is about. Try to get an understanding what the 250 Commission is doing and all that good stuff.
Is there anything you don't do? That's impressive. That's a long list. It's great.
Yeah.
It's
And
great to
also I'm
have.
researching my family who's been here since Native American days. My great-great-grandmother, my fourth great-grandmother burned down, and her tribe burned down the first courthouse at Tyson's.
Wow.
Yes.
Up the revolution.
What tribe was that? I'm curious.
That's what I'm trying to research.
Ah,
It's been passed down through generations that she burned down the first courthouse, her and her tribe. My understanding that she was Chief Powhatan's niece.
oh, wow. That's impressive. Okay. Well, he had a lot of kids. My understanding was. And then as a result, a lot of different relations. But that's really
Yes.
cool that you can
She was
trace
an
your.
Indian. She was a chief herself.
Oh, wow.
She owned a lot of land around here in the Fairfax and Loudoun County area.
Impressive. Quite impressive. Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Are you going to be at the Viva Vienna next week?
Are you speaking to me?
Yes.
Oh no, I'll be out of town.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's too bad. It looks like it's going to be a lot smaller than it was last year, which is kind
Really?
of
Oh
curious.
wow.
Yeah, I think there was only like 106 vendors or something like that.
Oh,
And
wow. Usually they have a lot more than that.
yeah, I'll be representing the Potomac Appalachian Trail Club. But in the past, I've represented the Northern Virginia Astronomy Club and Shenandoah Mountain Rescue and a bunch of other organizations. Amateur radio. Oh,
Could you
as a
explain what
matter of-
this event is? Is it going to be at Vienna next week and when? I know I got on late, just because I know some folks in the Vienna area, and I'm representing the Merrifield, Providence area, so we're neighbors, so to speak. And I was wondering what that was.
Viva Vienna?
Yeah.
It's
What-
a sort of a celebration of Vienna. You know, it's got carousel and I guess some
Like a
roller
festival
coaster flight
concept?
rides, and it's a fair. It's a festival.
It's a fair.
Okay.
Yeah, it usually
And,
happens
they have-
Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, and they have booths running up and down.
Yeah, they have vendors, they have all
Mill
kinds of
Road and
things.
Center Street and stuff.
Right, and they have rides along
There's also a beer fest
Church Street. Viva Vienna's on Church Street
for the
every
most part. Mhm.
yeah, it's on Church Street every Memorial Day weekend. And they
And-
provide rides if you live in the area, they'll provide rides from they have buses that go out to the Vienna Metro for parking and bring you into Viva Vienna.
Okay. Well, thank you
Actually,
very much, because I'd like to visit if I could get some
Yeah, they
ideas.
have it
Maybe
it's been going on now since maybe back in I don't know, maybe early 2000s or so, maybe before that.
okay.
It's been going on for a long time in Vienna, Viva Vienna.
Okay. Thank you for that.
That's good to know. And I know I'm pretty sure that you mentioned Church Street. I'm pretty sure I've been to Viva Vienna before.
For your benefit, Elliot, the links that you put up are clickable. I can't copy them, but I can click on them and browse there and then copy the website from the browser.
Well, that's good. So at least that much. At least you can accomplish that much.
Yeah.
So that's useful. I'm glad, that they're at least clickable, and again, I don't know why you can't copy or paste or download it. That's pretty baffling to me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be
they
able
have
to.
vendors and entertainment. They have rides for kids.
Oh yeah, there are several stages
Yeah,
where
there's
they
all
have
kinds of
music
things
and
going on.
magicians and acrobats and dancers and all kinds of stuff. That might be a good place for you to do outreach for the 250 too.
Well, and
I don't
that's
know if,
what,
I don't know if it's too late.
No,
Yeah.
so it's interesting you mentioned that. We are actually going to be visiting with various celebrations and festivals over the next 6 months to a year, and really, just kind of as we ramp up our efforts, and then the signature experience is going to be heavily invested in those events starting in the fall of 2025. But for the next, year plus, we're going to be trying to attend as many events as possible, tabling, giving out marketing materials and what have you to try to advertise the commission further. Those plans are in the works, so you hit the nail on the head with that one.
Yeah.
And
And
I was
also my
thinking the same
church, First
thing
Baptist
there.
of Vienna. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was thinking the same thing that Elliot was speaking of, because we usually do a festival at my church area in the Maryfield area around the summer and the fall, and I wanted to come over there see what ideas or people I could confiscate to come share with us in the Providence district as well. So I might be trying to get in touch with you, Miss Carter, because I grew up with some Carters in Fairfax County and went to school with some. My father was a Gray, you know. So anyway, that was a good connection, and I hopefully we can speak.
Yeah. Do you live on Courthouse Road?
Uh, no, I was going to church in that area. My father was a pastor, Clarence Gray, and Pauline Gray was my mom, but we went to church in that area.
Oh gosh, yes. Yes, I remember them. I went to school with Margie and Edie.
Yes, they're my sisters.
Yes. Yes, I went to school
Small
with them.
world.
They live down in the Pines. I don't think it's there anymore. And Reverend Gray used to be pastor at Second Baptist Falls
Yes,
Church. I mean, not Falls Church,
absolutely. You know my dad.
and your mother was head of the Ministers' Wives Association for years at the Baptist Association.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
so yeah.
Yes. I grew up in the Pines.
Yes. So yes,
Anyway,
my
maybe
grandparents
we
was
can
heavily
connect.
involved in that too. Yeah.
Okay. Would you put your information in the chat so
I
we can
love
talk?
this. I like I said,
Yeah.
this is part of what I do, why I do what I do. You
Great,
know.
I've got to go. Sorry.
All right,
But I
very good.
also wanted to tell you about First Baptist Church of Vienna does Juneteenth every year. And we also, the town of Vienna, do Liberty Amendments Month. So we talk about the 13th, 14th, 15th, and 19th Amendments. And that's an event that usually takes place in Vienna during the month of from June until July for a whole
I'd like
month.
to be involved with that or come visit some of that.
Okay. We do announcements. I think if you go to the Town of Vienna website, it kind of gives you an idea what's out there. But yeah, my cousin Gloria Runyon, she's trying to get some activities, her and some other folks are trying to get activities together. But I'm not on that committee. Believe me, I have a lot of other stuff that I'm working on
I understand.
that deals with cemeteries because I'm getting ready to work on the Collins Cemetery down in the Pines. So that's one of the cemeteries I'm getting ready.
They're my cousins.
Yes. Okay. Well, then I'm working with Ronnie and Diane,
Yes.
and
Uh-huh.
we're going to try to clean up the cemetery. And I've got a couple of my groups, cemetery groups, and I have a coming to um coming to the table group, which is a racial reconciliation group that's
Hmm.
also becoming that want to be involved in cleaning up that cemetery. So yes, we're going to be working on that sometime, I think next month.
Okay. The historical marker there that marks the entrance to that cemetery was put
Right.
there a few years back, and I sang the anthem that my cousin, brother Guy Collins, wrote. So
Yes,
I know the
and
area well.
yes, and so we're going to try to clean the cemetery up, and hopefully we're going to have lots of hands to help. So
Okay.
if you know anybody, Joyce, that wants to help from your family, let them know.
Okay. Maybe you can put your information in the chat so I can give you a call later after this.
Okay,
Thank
sure.
you. All right, Elliot.
You're
Sorry.
welcome.
Go ahead.
No worries, not a problem at all. Again, these are, again, opportunities for folks to connect. This is what we hope. But if there are no further questions, I'm going to bring the session to a conclusion. I can't imagine that 48 minutes in, anybody is going to be racing into the room. And if they try after the fact, we'll let them know that we obviously we did the presentation, took question and answers, et cetera, et cetera. So, but again, thank you very much for being here this evening. We really do appreciate it. We appreciate your interest, and there'll be more, much, much more to come. And if you have an opportunity and an interest on April the 29th to be able to attend our in-person town hall, it's going to be very something similar, but also it'll be an opportunity for you to meet other like-minded folks who are also interested in this.
Oh, Elliot, before you go, this is
Yes.
Dee.
Yes.
What is the purpose of the group, and what do you plan on doing?
Mhm.
I thought I had covered that during the presentation.
Oh, I think I missed the presentation. I'm
Oh,
sorry. Are you
okay.
going to send the presentation out so that we can take a look at it, or
So
is it going to be shared, not
yes,
shared?
no, it will be. The recording will be uploaded to our website. This whole session has been recorded.
Okay.
So it will
Okay.
be shared, and that will also include the slides that I shared this evening and all of the, information that was provided. Yes.
Okay. And Diane, Joyce, I'm working with Diane Haight and
Oh,
Ronnie
hey,
Marshall.
oh, look, she's another, they are my cousins.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm
that's who
related
I'm
to most
working
people
with.
in the Merrifield area.
Yeah. Well, I come to find out that Ronnie Marshall's my cousin too.
Uh-oh, we might be family.
Yeah. He
This
said
has been most
that
enlightening, so thank you.
yeah, he said Tui Williams was his dad, so and he's part of the Carter family.
Okay.
Yeah.
My grandparents grew up right there across from the Mosaic, right there
Yeah.
by the Silver Diner. There was a house there.
I tell everybody that lives around here that this was all used to be African American communities. Merrifield. Nobody
Yes,
seems to know that, but yes, it was once an all African American community. The
my
only thing that's
family all
left
around
now
that
is the
church.
church. That's
Yes,
the only
yes.
reason the church. And Luther Jackson's still there, but it's intermediate what is it, middle
Intermediate
school or something?
now. Yes, it was a
Yeah,
middle school.
right.
I
But
went there
that
in
was the
first
only
grade, as a
black
matter
high
of
school
fact.
in Fairfax County at one time.
Yes, and I
They
went
had
there in
one
first
black
grade.
high school.
I have your number, so we can talk. So
Okay,
thank you for
thank
putting that
you.
in the chat. Thank
No
you.
Okay,
worries.
thank you.
All right.
And
Elliot,
thank you,
thank you for
Elliot. I
allowing us a
appreciate
few
it. And
minutes.
I will look at the PowerPoint slide.
No worries. Absolutely. You have yourself a good evening, and thank you very
You
much.
too. Thank you.
All
Thank you,
right. Thank you,
everyone.
Elliot.
Bye now.